We're filming this video today in a hotel room because last week we had to abandon our RV. Here's what happened.
Welcome to Adventurous Way. I'm Diana.
And I'm Matt, and we are here to tell you a story of how the last week did not go as planned.
Not the adventure that we imagined or wanted.
No, if you saw our last video, you'll know we've been on the road for 2.5 years. We've been spending this winter in Vermont, and everything was going really, really well. When we filmed that video just over a week ago, everything was perfect. We were happy, the RV was doing great, and it's amazing how quickly things can change. Just a few days after filming that video, just before it went live, we had some major problems. We shared these in our newsletter last week, so if you saw some comments on last week's video about things not being so good, and you're like, what's going on? The video looks fine. Well, this is why. We shared it with our subscribers on the newsletter. We were still honestly in shock when we sent that email. It has been such a crazy week, and we are still in the middle of it. We're still trying to just emotionally process what's happened. So there's going to be a lot of things today where we just don't have all the answers. But we're going to share with you what has happened and what we do know. Be gentle with us. We're trying to figure this out as best we can in the moment.
And this video is going to be pretty much real time. We're filming this just a day or maybe a couple days before it's going to go live. And we'll put in some footage that we filmed earlier from as things happen. I mean, we talked a little bit whether we should share this or not, but we have shared all the ups. So I think it's probably fair to share the downs as well. But please be gentle in the comments.
And there is no bigger down maybe than what happened to us last week. It was Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting on the bed with my laptop when out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw some water drip from one of the light fittings above the bed. And so I kind of watched that space, and a few minutes later, there was another drip. And I saw it this time. Dripping from water fitting from ceiling lights is never a good sign. So we investigated. We took the light fitting off, and we found just a small pool of water, maybe like a teaspoon or so, just had accumulated in the glass behind the light. Not a good sign. So we took the plastic shroud around the vent off so we could see inside the ceiling cavity. And I will never forget when we took that off. I felt physically sick. As we looked up in there, wherever you looked, there was just like glistening wetness on the underside of the plywood, and worse, mold. Like black mold in every direction up there. The whole area was completely soaking wet. It was clearly moldy. We were just in shock. We just sat there and we're like, what do we do? What do you do in a situation like this? There was no sign in the RV that this was going on. We've never had any moisture forming on the ceiling panels or on the walls. Yeah. And you'll know from that last video, we've been running that dehumidifier almost non-stop. This is a 35-pint residential dehumidifier designed for much larger spaces than our RV. And we've been running it almost non-stop to keep the humidity down as low as 10% at times in the RV. Yeah. So we took some photos. We got on the phone to Outdoors RV, the manufacturer of our RV, and we spoke to one of their service people.
And you were able to get through very quickly.
Oh yeah, I mean, I called up their main number, got straight to the service department, and spoke with them instantly, explained the situation, explained what we could see, and he said he agreed with our assessment. It sounded like mold. We then sent about a dozen or so photos over to him, and he emailed back and said, yeah, that looks like mold, and it's not safe to live in an area with mold in the ceiling. Even though we couldn't see it, it was up there. We didn't know how much the mold spores could be circulating with the air inside the cabin. We didn't know what type of mold. The mold is black, and black mold is the worst type of mold, but there are different types of mold that are black. So at this stage, we still don't know what type of mold it is. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. All we knew was that we didn't want to be in that space. For our own health, we didn't feel safe staying in the RV with that up in the ceiling. especially now that we'd removed the shroud and seen it. We also removed the shroud in the vent in the bathroom. So the first one was at the front of the trailer. This one was at the back of the trailer. Much the same problem up there, full of moisture up in the ceiling. And we also checked behind the speaker in the galley, so in the center of the RV. And the same sort of situation there, loads of moisture up in that ceiling cavity. In other words, the entire roof had the same problem. This was not a localized issue that we could see.
Yeah.
So we found the issue on Tuesday afternoon last week. It took us a little bit of time to emotionally process what was going on and work out a plan. But on Thursday, we had come up with some immediate next steps.
2 days ago, we discovered that our roof is moldy. And today is Thursday, and we'll just fill you in what we're doing today.
So our main priority right now is to get out of the RV. We spent yesterday looking at a lot of options for where we can go next. Vermont has some pretty strict quarantine rules right now. So if we leave the state, we have to quarantine for 14 days when we come back in. We therefore decided to try and stay in Vermont. We want to make the best use of our ski passes that we have.
Yeah.
We're also shopping for land while we're here, and both those things would be much harder if we left the state.
Yeah.
Obviously, with COVID as well, we're limited to where we can go. We can't just go and stay with friends and things as easily as we normally could. So we spent yesterday looking at all the options for where we could stay.
We looked at Craigslist, short-term rentals. We looked at Airbnb. We looked at VRBO and
all those sorts of places.
All those places. And with Airbnb, that would be, I guess, kind of obvious choice for furnished places. But it's hard because the timing is hard to get something right away. For a month long stay, because people already have booked weekends and so on.
And we're trying to find somewhere for a month because we don't really know what's going to happen next. So we just need to get ourselves some breathing room.
Yeah.
Where we're not in the RV and we just want to get out of here. We are going to leave the RV here in the RV park. We've spoken to the owners and they're happy for us to do that. We'll leave it with electricity hookups so we can run the dehumidifier. But for us, we just want to get out.
Yeah. We considered putting the RV in storage and air conditioned and storage. But the problem is we feel like we really need to hook it up to the electricity so that we can run the dehumidifier to make sure that the humidity stays very low.
Not to mention the fact that there is like 8 inches of snow on the ground right now. We've got all the skirting on the RV. So it wouldn't be super easy to move the RV right now. So with so many things going on, we figure just leave the RV here and we'll go into some other accommodation. So this morning we went through all the options that we had. And we eventually decided that our best option was to check ourselves into a hotel. It's nothing super fancy, but it has the key thing that we needed, which is a kitchen. Mm-hmm. We literally did a massive Costco shop on Monday. So we have a fridge and freezer full of food. Again, with COVID, we don't want to be eating out all the time, and that's just not our style anyway.
Yeah.
So we found a hotel that has like a small kitchen in the room. I say small, it's actually probably larger than our kitchen, so it's going to be luxury in comparison.
And the whole hotel room is larger than this
I think
RV.
it's like 4 or 5 times the size of our RV. And again, it's nothing special, it's just we're in a tiny space. So it's already about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We got that booked this morning. We've been finishing up a few items that we needed to get done in the RV today.
So that's the suitcase we want.
Yeah. So the roof is definitely covered in a thick layer of snow. You can see it really piled up there on the solar panels. They're obviously not producing. And then the exposed bit over here, that is the fridge vent. So obviously there's warm air coming out of there, which is why that has melted. I think we need to clear this and see what's going on. Our plan now is to pack everything that we want to have in the hotel room for the next month. So we're going to pack up and drive to the hotel this afternoon. So clothes and things like that, we're going to try and get most things out of the fridge at least.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow we'll then come back here, we think, and kind of prepare the RV to be left for a month. So we will make sure it's winterized and all of the home automation we're going to leave in place so we can keep an eye on it, make sure that the temperature sensors and things are all working correctly. So then we can clear out all the remaining stuff, either into a storage unit or into the hotel room or something. And we'll pick up the remainder of the stuff from the freezer then. So today, I think if we can get clothes, we can get all of our like computers
gear.
and like office stuff out, and we can get the fridge contents out, at least then we're in a pretty good place.
So we downsized for 4-bedroom house into 1-bedroom apartment, and then to an RV, and now we're downsizing to a hotel room.
Yeah, it's going to be an adventure. Not maybe the type of adventure that we had planned. I think we are in the middle of things. We're trying to figure it out as we go along.
But we are taking it step by step.
Yeah.
Just one thing at a time, dealing with one thing at a time. And we kind of wrote out our kind of to-do list and just focusing on one thing at a time. Otherwise, it's just too overwhelming.
Yeah, and we're trying to stay positive throughout it. It's a stressful situation by all accounts, but we're trying to stay positive. We're trying to focus on actions and goals and getting things done. And so far, we're coping.
So this is going to be our home for the next month.
What? This place is massive. This is like 5 times the size of the RV.
What? The bathroom is the size of the RV.
It'll actually be nice to spread out in here. That's kind of weird.
Is that a dishwasher?
Dishwasher! Okay, we get excited about very small things now, it seems. This is amazing. I mean, look at the amount of cupboard space there. That is...
It probably has more dishes than we have. 4.
So we're going to move things like our Instant Pot in here as well. So I think we might be the only people who've ever stayed in a hotel and brought their own Instant Pot.
This fridge is huge. Oh yeah, freezer is cold. And we have 1 hot plate, or 2 hot plates.
Perfect. This is going to be exactly what we need. It's not super luxurious, might be fairly basic, but it's fantastic for us.
Yeah, and hopefully, we can still stay healthy in this kind of place and not get off of our healthy routines.
And speaking of healthy, like down at reception, they've explained all the COVID restrictions and things. They're taking it really seriously here, which works really well for us.
Yeah.
We're not going to be out and about much. We're just going to try doing skiing and then come back to the room. So I think we can be very comfortable here.
Yep.
Now it's time to go and unload all the stuff. Fun times. So it took us a couple of trips to really get most of our stuff out of the RV and here into the hotel room. It's lucky it's a nice large room. We've got quite a lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure the hotel staff thought we were crazy as we were like carting all of this stuff in. But we're here, we're warm, we're safe, we're dry, we've got what we need here now. And that's honestly been our main focus, is just staying safe. It's obviously not where we'd like to be, but you've got to prepare for the unexpected in the RVing lifestyle. And this is where having an emergency fund really comes in valuable.
And not even in RVing, just in general in life, you should have emergency fund for all sorts of situations.
For exactly situations like this.
Yeah.
And having that has given us the ability to really put our health and our safety first and not have to worry about that, which has been really good. So in the days since then, we have been in regular contact with Outdoors RV. They've been really responsive and supportive, and we think we've come up with a game plan. So we've had a lot of options to consider. There's a lot of things that we need to think about. The thinking at the moment, we don't know exactly what the root cause is. The best guess that they have right now, and honestly, me too, is that the ceiling humidity has just been caused by humidity in the trailer not being able to vent out properly. For some reason, that moisture has built up, which can be something that happens with long-term use of an RV. We feel like we've done everything that we could to keep it dry in there. We've been really good about ventilating it, keeping windows open, vents open, the door latch we installed so we can keep the door open when it's windy even. Obviously this winter we've been using the dehumidifier. Their best guess is this has been going on for a long time, long before we got to Vermont to winter camp. We don't know if the winter weather has made it worse, but this is something that's been going on for months, maybe even a year or more. So certainly not something that's happened overnight.
And we won't really be able to know until the roof is opened up.
Yeah, and it absolutely could be a leak on the roof. We've been up on the roof, we checked it as part of our regular maintenance in August, then again in November when we got to our campsite. Last Wednesday we climbed up on the roof and checked it again. We cannot see any evidence of a leak up there. There's no signs that are kind of suggesting that there is a leak, apart from the massive amount of water inside the ceiling. But we won't know for sure until we take the roof off. And if it's something that we've done, if it's we've installed the solar panels and we haven't sealed properly, or the fan that we installed isn't sealed properly, we will absolutely share that, because we think it's so important that other people can learn from what's happened here and hopefully stop the same happening to you. But the game plan now is we need a new roof on the RV. That is the bottom line. Exactly what's caused it, we'll find out when we take the roof off. But taking a roof off an RV is a pretty big deal. And so talking with Outdoors RV, we have decided that we're going to take the RV all the way to their factory to get that work done.
Which happens to be in Oregon.
Which is in Oregon, 2,700 miles from where we are here in Vermont. And that's not ideal. We did consider getting it done locally, but we just feel we can trust Outdoors RV to do a good job. We know that they've got the best people working there. They'll do a really good job. And we don't know this area. We don't know where we could get it done locally.
And we have heard so many horror stories about RVs being in the shop for like months and months at a time. So we don't really want to do that.
They should be able to get us in and out pretty quickly. So we're going to take the RV over to them, but we are going to finish our stay here in the hotel. We're booked in here for about a month. We did that because we just needed breathing space, like we talked about.
And we didn't know what would be the solution at that point in time.
Yeah, it was all happening so fast.
Yeah, we had to talk about our long-term plans, and our long-term plans have not changed. We still want to buy land and build a house somewhere in New England. And with COVID travel restrictions, if we, for example, go stay with friends out of state, it would be much harder to come back into Vermont and look for land. So we decided we wanted to stay in Vermont so that we can continue skiing, because we got ski passes and we really want to make sure we get good use of them, and so that we can continue looking for land.
Yeah. And that's a big reason that we're staying here for the full month, is so that we don't miss the ski season. In a month's time, hopefully the weather will have improved a little bit. It'll be a little easier to get our RV out from the RV park where it's currently surrounded by snow. But it really means for the next few weeks, there is nothing we can do. The RV is now safe. It is pretty much empty. And really our focus now is just on staying positive. We're going to enjoy all the things that the hotel has to offer.
Like unlimited showers.
Unlimited showers, unlimited hot water, full-size residential fridge freezer, dishwasher. We're going to be really... I realise these are relative luxuries, but when you live in an RV without all those things, these are luxuries to us right now. And we're going to enjoy all of those for the next few weeks. But like you say, hopefully we can get the trailer repaired. It's going to be a long trip to get it done, but when we're back, hopefully we can just go back to exactly as we were before. And yeah, it's been stressful so far, but I think we've had these action plans of just step by step, focus on the immediate next thing to do, and that's really helped us to get through this.
Yeah, so we'll get through this and we'll share our journey along the way. So yeah, we'll keep you posted.
We moved most of our stuff over to the hotel in the first couple of days after we got here. We didn't manage to move everything at once, and honestly, we were just exhausted.
Yeah.
It's just mentally so draining to deal with something like this. So yesterday we headed back to the RV to pack up the last few things and get it ready to sit there for the next few weeks. It's been a week since we found the problem here in the RV. We're now settled into that hotel. We're feeling pretty comfortable in there. We've got most of the stuff in there that we need, but there's still some things left here in the trailer, which is where we are again now. The goal today is really to get everything packed away. We want everything tied in here so that when we have to move the trailer, we can put some things in a storage unit and we don't have to take those with us. There's some other stuff in here, some textiles like the mattress that we want to make sure are protected, just in case there are any mold spores in the air, we don't know yet. So we want to get all that stuff packaged away inside plastic if we're not taking it out of here today. Talking of the mold, we've picked up a mold test kit, so we're going to swab that and mail that off to have them test it and see what type of mold we have here, just so we know. And while we've got that area open, we want to kind of keep it closed in there. We've had the dehumidifier running to keep it dry in here, so it should be helping, but we do want to keep that area closed. Before we close it up, though, we are going to put a temperature and humidity sensor up there, just so we can really get a sense for what is going on up there, how humid is it changing, etc, etc. So when we first saw the drip, that was coming from this light here, and that's what first got us kind of a bit nervous. So what we did is we removed this plastic shroud from around the fan, the vent fan here, and then you can see up inside the ceiling cavity, and that's where we could see the mold. This has been sealed since then. We're going to open it again now because we want to put a temperature and humidity sensor up there. We were going to do the mold kit as well. Turns out the instructions say you have to prepare the Petri dish an hour beforehand, and this is the last thing that we have to do before we leave today. So we'll come back another day and do the mold kit. For now, we just want to get some monitoring up there. Isn't it crazy just how quickly something can change? We went from everything being perfect and happy to, in a couple of days, our entire life has been turned upside down. That drip from the ceiling was one small sign of a much bigger problem. Fortunately, we think we've got a solution. We think we've got a game plan for how to get it solved. So for right now, we are just focusing on the positives. We're trying to enjoy the hotel experience as much as we can while we're here. And fingers crossed, we'll get everything back to normal as soon as possible. Of course, we will share all of those updates with you. But like we said at the start, we are in the middle of this right now. We're filming this on Wednesday. So as you're seeing this, it's probably just a couple of days later. We are so appreciative of the enormous outpouring of support that we had from our newsletter last week. We had dozens and dozens and dozens of people reaching out to us, offering help and support and
suggestions. It was very helpful.
It was phenomenal. We've tried to reply to as many people as we possibly can, but if we didn't manage to reply to you, then thank you so much. We read every single one, and it meant so much to us. It was really, really appreciated. So stay tuned as we find out what happens next on our journey to get a new roof on our RV.